Hello and welcome to Martin Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei, and you are tuned into the morning forecast show every single morning. We are now dealing with a time difference once again in terms of the clocks changed here in the UK, so it's now actually 11:30 here in the UK. Compared to when we normally go live at 12:30. So for all the UK audience, I do apologise for the time difference. The US audience, this should be your normal time. In about a week from now, we will be back to normal, where all the time zones are back in sync. But about twice a year, we have this issue for a week. But yeah, the US will be changing their times next week and everything will go back to normal. But anyway, you've still managed to find the show. Thank you for tuning in. We are looking at a major week this week. Thank you to all the Electrum members last night. We had an amazing show last night, a couple hours live on the Electrum event. We did 30 questions. People learnt a lot. I think, very insightful information was given. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. So thank you to all the Electrum members. Every Sunday night we have that event. But yeah, I do want to thank all the Electrum members. I see some of them in the chat right now. But yes, here we are with another live show, another morning forecast show. We've got lots going on this week. Not much today, but a lot this week. There could be a few things going on today as well, because Trump is meeting a few people in Asia. So that could cause some market turbulence, but nothing really planned for today. But it heats up very fast. That's what we're going to talk about. So let's get ready for what's happening this week. The markets jumped on futures. We saw it last night when we were covering the Electrum event. The futures popped up, and there's good reasons for that. But anyway, as always, back to our newsletter. Every single morning it gets published. First link in the description. It's also in the live chat. Anyone giving away free Electrum memberships? Ricardo, it's actually not possible. No one can give away Electrum memberships. The memberships that are given away are bronze. They're for 1 month. They don't auto-renew. No one can specifically give away Electrum memberships, unfortunately. Otherwise, that would be very fun. But no, we can't. Just to let you know. So let me go to our newsletter today. Soft landing or sudden shock? The Fed, Trump, and tech giants are about to tell us so much going on this week. But today's news, anyway, is Trump landing in Tokyo amidst a scene trade progress, and Trump is now in Japan after securing Southeast Asia trade deals and aims for new US-Japan economic pacts. We might be hearing from Trump. Remember, he is meeting Xi Jinping this week as well, so that will be a major event we'll be covering. We've got Fed chair finalists confirmed by the Treasury. All of these go into their longer stories below under this section. You go into the full stories. We've got India planning 49% foreign cap in state banks. Japan launches their first yen-pegged stablecoin. We've got US futures rally on trade and tech hopes. We saw the S&P 500, if you have a look at it right now, it is up 0.85% pre-market. Absolutely incredible. You look at the Nasdaq, it is up 1.26%. Both of them all-time highs. Again, jumping up last night on futures. So congratulations to people still holding on. Markets face the markets will face a make or break week with key catalysts. A lot going on this week. So let me just go down to what's happening this week, and then we can come back to today's stories. But this week is going to be a big week. If everyone can hit the like button, that would be amazing. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. It takes only 1 moment and it's free. Let me first come to your comments, and then we will come on to what's happening this week and how to be ready for it. Let's have Bloomberg down here. Why does that not? Apologize. I'm just trying to. Okay, no. Okay, so who was here first? Kevin was here first. Good morning. Andy is here. MDL is always here. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go. Ricardo is here, always here early. Good morning, Banana Head, says Ricardo. Oh, the reason Ricardo wasn't first is because he was in the wrong video. He says, I hope everyone had a good weekend. I'll settle for third place. Yes, I hope everyone had a great weekend. Leo Nel Rivas says, good morning. MJ says, will XRP be $3 by the end of the week? I do not have a crystal ball. It certainly could be. It all depends what happens this week. So, Stephen Mariano is here. Lovely to see you here. Good morning. You should be approaching your 1-year badge soon, I think. Gail says, good morning from New York City. Gail, what do you think about the mayor elections? Who are you going to be voting for? Or you don't have to tell me that, but you can say what you think about the elections. I think early voting has just started. Mo and says, good morning. I hope you're all well. Thank you very much. Human Being says, hello, everyone. Tasha says, good morning. Let's hope for a green week. Bounce Back says, it's a beautiful day for a back test to 251. Maybe. Yeah, we could certainly. That would be great to hold $2.50. Paul D says, good morning, Sensei and all. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Thank you, Paul D. Yes, I did. I hope you did as well. Yolanda says, good afternoon, Sensei, and good morning, everyone. Welcome in, Yolanda. Philip Brady says, good morning from Halifax, NS. I don't know where NS is. NS. NS state. I don't know where NS is. NS? Okay, you're going to have to let me know where Halifax N.S is. Good morning, all, says Black Demon, Denim. Ricardo says, yay, time changes. Yes, this is the one where you actually gain an hour's sleep. So yeah, this is the one that's good. Even though I didn't realize it happened. Human Being says, had also to come back from work earlier to catch your 12:40 here. Oh, it's 12:40 there. It's 11:40 here. So you must be somewhere in Europe. Anyway, no Electro memberships can be given away. That would be amazing. Bitcoin CME gap at 111, so we may go down. Yeah, but don't think about that too much. You can't just get hung up on CME gaps. At some point, they'll probably get filled. It doesn't mean they have to get filled today. Mike says hello all. Nick the Beluga says hello. Brian is here. Good morning, Brian. Glad you managed to find the show with the time change. Good morning, Sensei, says Karen. Craig says good evening. Nice to see you here. Any chance of carry trade, Sensei? There's always a chance of carry trade, but I've always had a lower. I know Martin thinks it's a higher possibility. He's reduced that, but I've always said maybe like a 10, 15, 20% chance of a carry trade. It's always there. It's always something you have to be careful of. But then again, even if it does happen, there's big differences between a massive crash and a small liquidation wick. It doesn't have to be a carry trade doesn't equal a 50% crash automatically. So I don't focus on the carry trade. I do research it. I do look into it. We do have Japanese rate decisions coming up, so we will look into it. But it's not something I focus on to get out the market or to get in the market. If it crashes, then I'll get in the market, but I don't start planning for it and sell out because of a carry trade chance. Robbie C says, good morning, peeps. Good day from North Korea, says Eli E.T. Did we not get a newsletter last Friday? Brian, did we not get a newsletter last Friday? I don't think that's right. Did we get a newsletter last Friday? I'm pretty sure we did. Last Friday. Let me go. I think we did. Posts. The last one was October the 24th. So that was. Yeah, no, there was a newsletter on Friday. It was all about inflation. Yes, there was newsletter on Friday. You can always find it on the app on the website. Sometimes check your spam folder as well. Let me mute that. Good morning, Nova Scotia. Oh, Nova Scotia. Don't even know where that is. Nova Scotia, where's that? Never heard of it. I'm gonna have to be honest. Never heard of it. Nova Scotia. Oh, it's in Canada. Oh, for some reason I was waiting to have I was thinking it was in the US. Nova Scotia. Let's have a look. I love Canada. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it looks lovely. There we go. Nova Scotia, bottom right-hand side of the screen. Yeah, it's on the coast, I imagine. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Bottom right-hand side of the screen, you can have a look. There we go. Well, thank you for letting me know where that was. Everyone knows it. I'm the only one who doesn't. Nova Scotia. There we go. Learn something new every day. Canada, you ever seen Adam Sandler movies? Yep, I have. Good morning. Is that where it's filmed? Where were we? Good morning, Sensei. How are we this morning? I'm doing great. Thank you for being here, BB. Priya, Germany still. Yep, you're in Germany. I know. Oh, yes. Human beings from Germany. I know we are too many here. I don't know what you quite mean by that. Guys here, good morning from Fort Lauderdale. Peter is, I hope Japan's president and Trump do a presser. I want to hear Japan's new guy. I think it's a lady. It's not a guy. It's Japan's new guy. I think Japan has a female prime minister. Japan prime minister. Yeah, Japan has a new prime minister, or you might be talking about the Japan's president. Does Japan have a president? Nope. No, I don't think Japan has a president. No, it's just the prime minister, and she's a female. First female prime minister, I think. So yeah, it will be great to see a press conference. We are going to keep an eye on it. Canada, you ever seen? Yep. Let's go through the comments and then come into the top stories of today. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We are building up the audience because every twice a year this happens and everyone gets a bit confused with the timings of the show because of the time changes. So if you could just hit the like button and subscribe, or at least hitting the like button will help push it out to everyone who wants to watch this video, who normally tunes in. It does really help. People saying he's really cool. Canada, yes. It's pronounced Nova Scotia. Oh, Nova Scotia. Oh, okay. Thanks, guys. Nova Scotia. There we go. Nova Scotia. Sounds more like Scotia. Yes, Scotia. Nova Scotia. Susan Watford says, good morning, Tennessee. Pronounced Nova Scotia. Shia? Nova Scotia or Nova Scotia? Shia. Nova Scotia. Either way, I think I've got it better now. Guy says, welcome to Trump's big, beautiful government shutdown day 29. Yes. 27. Yes, we are still going with the government shutdown. Good morning, Sensei. Which altcoins do you hold in your spot bag? Just wondering. What do I hold? Wow. I'm going to have to check. Mainly XRP. What else do I hold? Let's have a quick look at what else I hold. Flare. And this is probably in order of size. Flare, Stellar, Filecoin, Kronos, Dogecoin, Polkadot, and then I've just got ADA is actually above that. Then just some random small ones: Synthetics, Gala, HBAR, Ondo, VeChain, Aptos, Flow, The Graph, Sandbox, Loopring. And that's about it. There might be a few other wallets. So I think I've got more ADA than other tokens, but yeah, I think that's a little bit of an insight into my wallet. But yeah, about 80% XRP. Don't really hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. I have a little. Oh yeah, I do hold Ethereum because I bought it on that big dip down to 1,400. But yeah, don't hold much Bitcoin. I wish I held a bit more Bitcoin because it's performed better than most coins. That's where the most northern part of North America is. Oh, brilliant. Morning from Ireland. Says XRP YT25. Good morning. Peter says Eastern. It's not really morning in Ireland, though, is it? Oh wait, it is. I'm so confused with the times because normally we're live in the afternoon, but yeah, it's still morning. 5 more minutes. Whoever Trump met with, good morning, everyone. Good morning from California, Nashville, Tennessee. Craig says, my bad, it's Shia, not Shia. Oh, okay. No, okay, I'm not even going. Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia. Scotia. Nova Scotia. Everyone's saying it a little bit differently. Like the chain, I waited for XRP news and thought hold back the buy a bit since it holds Binky Bonk. I don't hold any Binky Bonk. Casper. Oh, Martyn's now 60% invested. Martyn is in the chat updating everyone. It's lovely to have you here, Martyn. Thank you for keeping everyone updated. I'm now 60% invested. 100% of that money that's invested is in the S&P 500. 40% is in T-bills. Ticker symbol SGOV. No XRP. Good morning, Martyn. Thanks for sharing your news. S-words up. Swords up, mate. I don't know what that means. Anyway, okay, we got through the comments. Let's get on to the top stories. Thank you, Martyn, for keeping us updated. Let's go over to Bloomberg for a second.
Efficiencies and monetization of some of this. The fact that credit investors are watching earnings and that you could get bad earnings that torpedo the stock market and the credit market at the same time highlight how systemically risky some of these companies have become, albeit very solid in their balance sheets.
The credit market, Bramo, is saying do more, green light, lever up a little bit. You don't need a credit rating that high. Do some more.
They're saying, we want to be part of the trend too. Can you give us something to work with too? And they're saying, sure, here you go. Here are some bonds. So right now, they're saying this is the way to go. And frankly, there's no sense right now that it's not coming to fruition in the balance sheets of these companies. We shall see. It's the big test this week.
A lot of supply coming this week. Up next on the programme, Abby Yoda of JP Morgan Private Bank, Angelo Zeno of CFRA to talk about those tech earnings, Pooja Sriram of Barclays.
Sorry. Let's come on to our very own news. Last week we had that big XRP story, still a massive story, but this week is going to be the week that decides it all. So what's happening this week? A lot. Are we going to have a soft landing? Are we going to be risk off? Is the tech sector going to melt down? Are we going to have a hard landing? What is Jerome Powell going to say? What is the equity market going to do? What are the earnings going to say? What's the FOMC meeting going to be like? Well, let's take a look into it. So, this week will determine whether global markets remain in a soft landing bull phase or rotate into a correction. The catalysts are tightly packed. Mega cap tech earnings, a Federal Reserve decision, the US core PC inflation report, and renewed US-Asia trade talks led by President Trump. Each has direct implications for rates, liquidity, and sentiment into the year end. I apologize, I'll just mute this. I'm still a little bit unwell, so 1 second, please. Okay, let's continue. So, earnings supercluster. If anyone wants to request earnings, this is your chance. Now, we've got so many earnings coming up, and they're so important, and it's first come, first serve. So, it's a $10 super chat, and we can cover your earnings. Remember, once someone requests it, there's only me and Vaz, so at most we can do 2 earnings. As again, depending on the day, but if you want to make sure you get your earnings done, or even if you want to, someone's ringing the doorbell, but I will probably just ignore that for now. I never know what to do when someone rings the doorbell while I'm on stream. I'm just going to ignore that. Anyway, let's, yeah, so even if you're not invested in these companies, it has a big effect on the market, so you still might want to request an earnings. The big ones we have coming up are on after close on Wednesday. The choices, Microsoft, Meta, Google, of course there's Starbucks and other choices as well, eBay. But yeah, those are the big ones, Meta, Microsoft, Google. You can have a look on the screen. And then on Thursday after hours, you've got Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, Reddit, all of those. There is obviously earnings throughout that as well. Tomorrow morning, you've got SoFi, for example, UPS. After close on Tuesday, you've got Visa, Enphase. Enphase might be a massive one. We can do a whole analysis on Enphase if anyone wants to do a super chat to cover Enphase tomorrow after close. Wednesday morning, ADP, Etsy, maybe not too exciting unless someone's a CAT investor. I know CAT is a big company a lot of people like to invest in. So yeah, Wednesday after hours, you've got Meta, Microsoft, Google. Thursday morning, you got MasterCard, Lilium, and then after hours, you got Amazon, Apple, Coinbase. Yeah, so yeah, keep an eye on them. If anyone wants to request them, you can just do a super chat, just leave the ticker or the name, and we'll make sure we cover it for you. But the big thing is, anyway, so many earnings. It's a super cluster. Sensei is the tax man wanting its money. Well, I will have no problems with the tax man because I do everything by the book. So I have no doubt. Susan says, Sensei, your pronunciation are about like my topos, hoping I'm not the one who's doing the live show. Oh yeah, it's just that one state. I'd never heard of it before. So, earnings supercluster. We've got corporate results now carrying more weight than actual macro prints. With 8 of the world's largest companies reporting in 72 hours, this stretch will define whether the profit cycle is inact or fading. Tuesday, 28th of October, PayPal pre-market. The focus will be on total payment volume growth, active user trends, and Q4 guidance. A miss will confirm the US consumer softness. A beat stabilizes fintech sentiment. We've then got Enphase and Visa after close. Enphase, component pricing, channel inventory, and margin commentary. Visa, cross-border volume and spending trends, a proxy for global demand. Wednesday after close, we've got Meta, Microsoft, and Alphabet. Combined, these represent 15% of the S&P 500. Massive. All on one night. Key variables, cloud growth, Azure, Google Cloud, ad spend, momentum, and AI-related CapEx. Solid guidance extends the bull case. Margin compression or slower ad growth would weigh on indices. So each of these things, it's not just earnings for the company. The fact was when you listen to earnings and when these earnings are reported, that information is very valuable to investors and to hedge funds and to understand where we are in the market. Because if there is less ad spend, for example, well, people are less willing to spend on ads, meaning it shows a whole variety of data that you can use to understand what part of a market cycle we're in. So very important. Again, you'd have to be sort of economists will be looking at this and pinpointing every single data set. If we listen to any of the earnings, we'll be extracting that information and taking away the bigger picture as well, not just focus on one company. So yeah, that's on Wednesday. Thursday, you've got Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, strategy. You can see Amazon web-based services margins, retail, EBIT, Apple December quarter revenue guide, iPhone services mix, Coinbase and strategy. You'll be looking at their trading volumes, Bitcoin exposure, and digital asset commentary. So why does it matter? Earnings resilience confirms that policy easing is translating into real economy strength. A weak cluster, especially from Microsoft or Apple, would undermine the market valuation premium, but on a soft landing optimism. Let's look at the next big thing. So we've got massive earnings this week. Feel free, if anyone wants to cover any of them, you can do a $10 super chat. We'll be looking at them, analyzing them the day after. If not, but we also have the big one. We've got FOMC this week, and it's one to get ready for. We already know what they're going to do. I'm 100% confident they're going to cut rates by 25 basis points. Let me put a poll up in the chat. Do you guys agree with me, or do you think something else will happen? FOMC decision 25 cut. I'm going to give you some options. Let's see what you think. I'm going to do a poll in the chat. So I'm going to do FOMC decision, and then you guys can choose which one you think is. If it's a 25 basis point cut like me, 50 basis point cut if they're going to hold and not and wait for a bit more data before they cut, or are they going to do a surprise hike? Well, the decision is now in your hands. What do you think it's going to be? I'm very confident it will be a 25 basis point cut. Might be wrong. I don't think I will be wrong, but let's see what you guys, see if anyone disagrees. So the decision, so how it works is the decision is put out there, 25 basis point cut. Half an hour later, we get the FOMC press conference. The decision isn't that important. It's actually what happens during that press conference. Jerome Powell will come out, he will speak. The market's going to look and see if he's dovish, if he's hawkish, then he'll take a Q&A. And then from everything he says, the market will react. So that's why that's so important. The FOMC meets with the federal funds rate currently at 4 to 4.25% after September's 25 basis point cut, the first easing move since 2023 or 2024. Markets expect another 25 basis point reduction to 3.75 to 4%, continuing the pivot towards looser policy. So what matters in the statement? Whether the Fed signals additional cuts in December or re-emphasizes data dependence, that's what's important. References to financial conditioning easing. Any concern here could temper risk appetite. Powell's tone on inflation versus labor market softness is also important. Market playbook. So getting ready for it. If it's a dovish cut, which we expect it to be, plus balanced language, Treasury yields drift lower, equities will continue on its run up, and the dollar eases. If we do get a cut, which I still expect we do, we can still get a hawkish Powell. So we don't get a dovish Powell, we get a hawkish Powell, and a hawkish Powell would be a little bit more cautious. Yields will stabilize. The market will actually sell off, even if we get 25 basis point rate cut. And this is the thing that I always try and tell people. Rate cut doesn't equal market going up. It's not as simple as that. It's all about what Powell says. People say, well, rate cuts are amazing. The only thing I'm looking for is a rate cut. And if I know that there's going to be rate cuts, I'm going to be investing. It's not as easy as that. For example, if you get an emergency rate cut, the markets will plummet because that shows fear. Also, if you get a rate cut and then Jerome Powell says, this is the last rate cut for a while, then obviously the market's going to go down. Or if we get a rate cut and Jerome Powell says, actually, inflation might be, we're going to keep an eye on inflation because it looks like it's going back up, then the markets will plummet. So it's not as simple as rate cut equals market go up. There could be a rate cut and he could be dovish, the markets go up. There could be a rate cut and he can be hawkish and the markets actually go down. Worst case scenario, absolutely worst case scenario, would be no cut, and that would be a sharp sell-off in the markets. I don't think there's a possibility of that happening, but I guess there's always a small chance of anything. But yeah, that would be an absolute terrible scenario. Let me have a look at the poll in the live chat. Some people say there's going to be a 50 basis point rate cut. That's more likely in my than a hold. But again, I'm about 99% confident we're going to get a 25 basis point rate cut. Yeah, I mean, some people, are they calling for 50 basis point rate cut after we got that good CPI on Friday? No, not really. No one's calling for a 50 basis point rate cut here. Yeah, the CME group is saying about a 96% chance we get a rate cut and about a 4% chance we don't. So yeah, let me go back to the newsletter. 50 basis point, yeah, so 20% of you say a 50 basis point cut, 12% of you say a hold. No one says hike, so okay, brilliant. We're all on the same page there. And then we could potentially be getting actually more data even with this government shutdown. We could be looking at core PCE inflation on Friday. This is the Fed's favorite metric for inflation. So the Bureau of Economic Analysis will release September's core PCE, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. We're expecting 0.2% month on month and 2.8% year on year. So the interpretation is below consensus confirms this inflation, validates continuing easing, bullish for the risk. So again, like Friday CPI, if we're getting it below consensus, that'd be great. If it's in line, nothing really changes. If it's above, the markets will sell off. Then we've got Trump. He's in Tokyo. We hope to be covering a bit of Trump today. I don't know if there's going to be a press conference and when that press conference is going to be. He's meeting with Xi Jinping on Thursday. Let's see if they're speaking about this now.
into year-end. Things can change in May, and that feels like a separate story to me when we get a change of leadership. But between now and May, are we taking some rate cuts for granted here?
Well, so we actually are expecting less rate cuts than I would say the market is. We have 3 through the end of next year, because it does, to your point, everything we're talking about, it's like not only do you have the economy on really solid footing, earnings on really solid footing, we're heading into 2026 where you have, you know, this growth impulse from the reconciliation bill, both on the consumer and corporate side, where it's like, how do you not see a reacceleration in growth? Now, the way that you avoid, you know, this difficult situation for the Fed is that you see also a commensurate increase in productivity, so therefore inflation isn't as much of an issue. But now that we're in this vacuum in terms of the labor market, I mean, it's a big question as what the Fed guides to, right? Like, it's super, super tricky. We're not envious of them at all. But I think, you know, just thinking about where we're seeing rates going from here, we have far less cuts than the market is pricing.
So just give me an idea of what it looks like, what you're expecting versus what's priced right now.
So we have 3 cuts through the end of next year versus, I think, 5.
Through the end of next year?
Yeah.
From now? Just 3? Okay, interesting. Abby, if you're right and this market's wrong, what's mispriced? Fixed income?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Exactly.
Abby, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd love to think about that. That's like the punchline. All
Okay.
right. Abby Yoder of JP Morgan Private Bank, thank you very much. Can you imagine that? Just 3 from here.
Yeah, well, it really raises the question, how much
Wow,
is this market
only
leveraged
3
to
from
a
here.
of aggressive rate cuts, even regardless of what the economic data is, even if we do continue to get strength? And that's a real key question. How much is the debt market in particular? Is it the credit or is it the government debt market mispriced to that? And I think that that's what clearly Greg Peters is wrestling with, given the fact that it seems like a conundrum to have such robust growth, sticky inflation, and a Fed that's going to be aggressively cutting.
If that's the case, then someone that the president puts as the new Fed chair will not be delivering on what he wants to see.
At the moment, the market's getting the best of both worlds. Gets the earnings from big tech, which makes up a major chunk of the S&P 500. The Federal Reserve's freaking out about something the market doesn't really care about, downshift in payroll, so they get the rate cuts too. It's like the best of both worlds at the moment, and I wonder how much longer that can persist.
I guess that the real conundrum has been that 10-year yields have been so behaved. So yes, it has been the best of both worlds, but the market's not freaking out about inflation either. And next year, it is going to be difficult for any Fed chair that President Trump appoints to continue with rate cuts if you do have an unmoored 10-year yield. And that is going to be sort of the fly in the ointment. And it's the reason why people are watching this and saying that Fed chair is going to have to ultimately be constrained by the market.
It's certainly difficult to get the committee to come with them. Sure. Anyway, you mentioned the bond market, 10s at the moment.
Wow, there we go. The debate is happening live. Everyone is talking about what we're talking about. So, yeah, the S&P 500 is up today. How much higher can it go? How much higher can it go? Well, charting wise, we are approaching a significant level of resistance, 1.5% more towards the upside. If you're looking at the S&P 500, you're looking at about 7,000 or just below 7,000, 6,950 to be the main level of taking profits. That's actually again, never financial advice, but the chart, that's the main level we've been looking for. Ever since this tariff crash, we have been targeting 6,950. That is 45% in a year. That's what we're targeting. That's what we're coming close to. That is amazing returns. Let's see if we get there. Is it going to go much further above that? Well, that means everything has to go perfectly right. So that means earnings this week has to be great. That means the Fed Jerome Powell has to be dovish. That means the meeting with Trump has to go well, and then we can go past that level. But essentially, it's not this is an area that people will be taking profits. Why? Well, if you look at Fibonacci from this previous high, which is just before Liberation Day, to the bottom of Liberation Day, well, your target goes exactly to just below 7,000. Also, if you look at a Fibonacci from the high before the 100% tariff came out, and the markets had a bit of a wobble and the crypto markets went down 85%, the 1618 on that as well is similar sort of ranges. So you're looking at just below 7,000 as really strong levels of resistance, or at least the first main level of taking profit for people that were in during Liberation Day. So that is a potential area where we might start being careful. It is still another 1.5% move to the upside. And the only way to get through that is let's make sure we price for perfection with those earnings, with Trump, etc., etc. Let's go back to what's happening with Trump in Tokyo. So President Trump posts 18 visit to Tokyo marks the next phase of a renewed US-Asia engagement. Talks of Chinese and regional officials reportedly center on tariff pauses, exports, curbs, and export curbs and rare earth supply. So far, rhetoric has softened, but markets will watch for concrete outcomes. Any language on semiconductor export rules or agricultural imports could move Asia-linked equities. Progress towards limited trade framework would support risk sentiment. New tariffs threats would reignite USD strength and weigh on commodities, and equities will slide. Geopolitical flows remain the wild card for the week, particularly for cyclicals and EMFX. So yeah, lots going on in Tokyo now. Couple days time or a few days time, we're going to see Trump with Xi Jinping. He will be doing the trade talks directly with the president of Xi Jinping, the president of China. That will be a big event to watch live. So that will be interesting, and that can move the markets. That has to go well for us to move past that final barrier on the S&P 500, or that first take profit zone on the S&P 500. So yeah, strong earnings plus a dovish tone will be bullish confirmation. Mixed earnings plus hawkish tone from the Fed, that will be rotation to defensive. A hot PCE will be in a risk off into the month end. So yeah, a lot going on. To really get that bullish momentum in the bull market to continue, you need strong earnings, especially from all those S&P 500 companies that make 15% up, that Apple, Microsoft, all of those big ones, Amazon. You need strong earnings, beats on earnings. Also, Jerome Powell to come out in a couple of days' time and be very dovish with his tone. We all know he's going to have a 25 basis point cut, but we need to be dovish tone. That will be that bullish confirmation. That means we can push past that target on the S&P 500. That means we can go into that altcoin season. If we have a mixed earnings and we get hawkish tone, well, that's it. That could be the beginning of a crash. Even if you get some earnings beating, some earnings not. If you get that hawkish tone from the Fed tomorrow, and you get especially if the talks, you don't get any resolution in the talks with China, then that could be the end of the bull run, especially if you also have PCE, if we get that data at the end of the week, and we've got bad trade talks with China, and the earnings are mixed, and we get a hawkish tone, well, be prepared for that crash that Martin has been talking about. As I always say, we're not here to predict the future. We're here to get ready for the future. We're here to explore paths that occur. We're here to navigate the market. So when that does happen, or whichever option occurs, we are prepared for that option. And we're not caught lacking by panic selling or caught lacking by FOMOing in. We know that there is a path towards an altcoin season and a path higher if each of these earnings goes right, a dovish tone. And we've got those targets on the upside. But we also know things can go wrong. No one can predict the future, and if it goes wrong and we understand what that situation will be, we're more likely to, instead of be panic selling and not doing anything, we'll be confident in our investments and we'll be buying at lower points. So that's the aim of the game. This is not a channel that predicts the future day by day. This is a channel that helps give you the real information so you can make informed decisions, so you can be prepared for any circumstance. If anyone's claiming they know the future, they do not. So the bottom line is, the coming 5 sessions, market sessions, compress every major macro signal. We've got earnings, we've got rates, we've got inflation, and we've got trade. They're all happening in a week. A clean execution from mega caps and a measured federal cut will validate the bull trend. A hawkish pivot or soft guidance will force repricing. By Friday afternoon, investors will know whether the soft landing story holds or whether Q4 starts with a reset. We will see where we are on Friday, hopefully on the bullish side of things. But if we're on the bearish side of things and we are amidst a market correction, you won't be panicking because you knew that was an option. So this week is going to be big. And I hope everyone is already subscribed. Everyone has already hit the like button. Just how high we can go? We can go up another 5-10% on the S&P 500, or maybe we can go up another 5-10% on the S&P 500. 10% would be, pretty extreme, but we can go up another 100% on the altcoins, 200%, 300%. If everything goes perfectly. If it doesn't, then we can be crashing before we have another shot towards the upside. So how high can we go? We can go as high as the market wants it to go. Remember, it's not always based off, is this sensible? Does this make sense? The market most of the time is irrational anyway, towards the upside and towards the downside. It overreacts towards the upside, it overreacts towards the downside. You just need to be prepared for both. So yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow, be prepared. We've got some data coming out, some earnings coming out. Wednesday's the big day with Meta, Alphabet, FOMC. We've got the FOMC event already set up, so already mark your calendars for that. I think it's we're starting around 5 p.m. UK time. That's about 1 p.m. Eastern time. So get ready for that event. Put that in your calendars. That's Wednesday. Thursday, we'll have more earnings. We've got the Donald Trump meeting with Xi Jinping. That's going to be big as well. And then Friday, we might be getting some inflation data, PCE, which is the Fed's preferred metric. So yeah, let's go and just have a look at a few. Yeah, Nasdaq is up another 1%, 1.27%. It's really rallying today ahead of those mega cap earnings. Let me go to your. Oh yeah, here we go. The tech earnings.
We do. Actually, we would view Meta as probably the biggest risk among the mega cap names that are reporting this week. And really kind of just, I would just echo some of the comments that were just made, in the sense that we do think that you look at the CapEx, the capital intensity numbers among these hyperscalers or big tech names, and Meta not having its own cloud business, given the fact that, listen, it is more of a cost center when you think about the AI investments that they are making, despite the.
Okay. Look, someone's in the chat. He says, it's not a member, move the product. So we either go up or down. Okay, thumbs up. I don't know if it's being sarcastic or not, but look, no one can predict the future. You're not tuning in for me to say the market's going to go up or down. We are in a very strange time right now. There is certain points in time where I would go, yes, this is a bear market. This is accumulation time, like 2 years ago with XRP at under 40 cents, with Meta at $100 after bad earnings, with Netflix crashing 80%, buying that up, or with Tesla at $20, or with Amazon dropping 40%. There's certain times where we're quite confident. We go, okay, that's actually gives us good value. We'll buy in. There's certain times the market is euphoric, like in 2022 in the market, and we're like, okay, the market's quite euphoric. We might crash down heavily now, or the market structure is breaking. There's also times like now where you just can't tell. I mean, you can never tell what's going to happen in the short term. Anyway, but there's times like now where the market is pretty overpriced. There's a US shutdown going on. There's tariffs like we've not seen before. We've got President Trump, whether you like him, you don't like him, he is adding to all of this in terms of the volatility and the uncertainty. So it'll be very, very unwise for someone like me to come out and say to an audience, we're going to the moon, or we're crashing 100% tomorrow, or we're crashing 80% tomorrow. There is not enough information, and there's so much data points. It all relies, and especially on a week like today, it relies on the 5 different bits of data we're getting this week. This week, we're getting so much bits of data that you have to analyze all of it. I can't predict what that piece of data would be. How would I know what the earnings are going to be this week for Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and all of the big names? How would I know? How would I know how it's going to go with Xi Jinping and Trump trade talk wise? How would I know what Jerome Powell is going to say tomorrow? How will I know what PC will be at on Friday? I don't. It's right now the market is very heavily dependent on what's happening event-wise, data-wise, inflation-wise. Why? Well, because it's so overvalued, or it's pretty overvalued, that it needs to look at the data. It's not severely undervalued. We're buying now, even if it's bad. It doesn't matter. It might go down a little bit. We're at a point in the market where there's no point me coming out and giving you predictions. It's just not wise. And yeah, anyone who says that they can predict the future is wrong. So let me go to your comments. Yeah, look, Zach and Jake Cleaver said XRP is going to 2K before the end of the month. It's just ridiculous. It's not happening. Don't listen to them. Oh god, it'll be so much easier for me to just make a random prediction and always. I mean, I don't understand. They're always wrong, so I don't understand how they have any credibility now. Markets up before the crash. Well, earnings start tomorrow. Yeah, so we don't know. How high can we go? That's a more sensible question. How high can we go? Well, you can look at some ratios. The S&P 500 can go up another 5%. If it goes up another 10%, it's at the most historically the highest level ever. So then it's really worrying. It can't really go much more than that. And then you can look at market caps and stuff. So you can answer a question of how high we can go. But it can also go irrationally up as well, so you can go over that. But you can look at sensible predictions and where we are in a market cycle. We just don't know if we're going to go up, down, or sideways tomorrow. Word is a 375-point rate cut is on the cards. Well, definitely not. Need the chill music from the countdown. I don't believe them. They don't know. No one knows. It's not possible. It's not going to 2K in the next 10 years. It's just not possible. In the next, I mean, it's just not happening. $100 in 5 years' time would be the biggest, best prediction I can give on XRP. There's nothing else that you can really convince me to say it's going to go higher to $1,000 in 5 years. I viewed Jack and their predictions. Zach and Jack, who are these people? I mean, just stop watching them. They're just stop. You're going to end up losing money because you're listening to someone and you're not going to take profits when XRP hits an amazing return of $5 or $10 because you're so clinging on to some random person telling you some ridiculous predictions just so that they can get you to watch their videos and get you to sign up for leverage trading so they win money even if you lose. Why are the S&P 500 PE ratios so much higher than the international rivals? Just because of all the tech that's actually part of the S&P 500 now. That's not what they said, Michael. Being a billionaire in fiat must be stressful every day. Why would being a billionaire in fiat be stressful every day? I understand crypto. I understand how it helps. Again, how it's good. How it might be a hedge against inflation. Again, not fully proven, but yeah. I think if you're a billionaire and you have fiat, you don't really care because that's not really going to get eroded away by inflation. You'll live a happy life. Fake news. Apparently, we're giving fake news. Isn't it so happy? Also, good morning all. Just hodl Bitcoin. Not a bad idea. Seth says, morning. When is the Fed cut timer? That's on Wednesday. It's the FOMC. We're just getting ready for all of it. Zach and Jack did not say that. I watched both of those guys. They have. I mean, I don't know who they are, but I've seen so many people report that they never said 2K. Okay, I don't watch these people. I don't know. I'm not the one saying this. I'm just reading the chat, but I'm sure there's many people out there, and I've seen many people, I don't even know who Jack and Zach are, that say $1,000 XRP or $2,000 XRP. I'm sure we can have a look at these people. Zach, who Zach and Jack? Zach and Jack? Is that the names of these people? Jake. Let's have a look at one of their thumbnails. And we can get a good sense. Jake XRP. Jake Claver. I'm assuming it's this guy. I don't see any $2,000 predictions. Yeah, I don't see any $2,000 predictions, but there's other channels that do predictions like that. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. I don't really want to look at other people. We focus on what we do here. But the point is, just be careful what you hear. If someone starts saying $1,000 XRP, $2,000 XRP, or $100 next week, it's not true. Anyway, that's what's happening this week. That's what we're looking forward to. There's plenty of good news for XRP, such as $1 billion XRP bet that a new treasury company is building, that we don't even need to hype up the news. This week is going to be very important, so stay tuned on the channel. Every day there's going to be big things going on. It's the week that decides it all with everything going on. We're going to end the stream now, and then we'll be back maybe later if there is a press conference with Japan's Prime Minister and Trump, but we're not expecting that just yet. Jake stated that XRP was built to be at $10,000 a coin. Hilarious. That's not what XRP was built to be. Will Bitcoin ever reach 1 million and remain the biggest crypto? Yeah, it probably would. Yeah, again. So if that's true, if Jake says XRP was built to be $10,000 a coin, yeah, that's not what it was built to be. If you have a coin that can print more as it's the stable coin, you can get rug. That's him. If XRP is the improved version of Bitcoin, which it is, why couldn't XRP end up the same price level? Because Bitcoin has 21 million coins, XRP has 100 billion coins. 21 million coins, 100 billion coins. It cannot be the same price as Bitcoin. For XRP's price to be the same as Bitcoin's price, there would need to be 5 times the amount of money that's on Earth right now in XRP. It's not possible. Zach Rector said $10 to $12 by end of year, and Jack Cleary said possible 4-figure XRP by 2030, but only if catalysts align. Sensei, look at these guys up because you're getting their fake news about them. That's fine. I don't want to look these. I don't care what people say. I don't like to look at these people, because even so, a 4-figure XRP by 2030, not possible. Even that's all I need to know. Even you like these people and you're saying there's a 4-figure XRP by 2030 if everything aligns. Not possible. Not happening. No one. Okay. So did they say $1,000 XRP by 2030 or not? Because someone else has now said none of these guys said it would be 1,000 or 2,000 soon. 5 years is pretty soon. This channel is the best. Thank you, Yolanda. Any news from Martyn Bank of America regarding XRP? I haven't heard anything recently. You're a reasonable person. Glad to know you. Thank you. Thank you, Sean June. Just hold XRP. As with all good news that is coming out, Ripple, as soon as the ETFs come out, Live will be flying. Human Being says, what time is the next? Needs to work a bit. Yeah, I don't know what time the press conference is, so just keep notifications on and you'll be notified if you do have your notification bell on and your YouTube notification on in the settings in your phone. The facts are nobody knows how high XRP can go. Nobody said Bitcoin would be 2,000 either. Yes, Jam. I understand that. No one knows how high XRP can go, but nobody says Bitcoin will go to 2,000. But it's completely different. From Bitcoin going from $10 to 2,000 is very different from XRP going from $10 to 2,000. You need 1,000 times, 2,000 times, 100,000 times more money for that to move in that sense. Japan's new prime minister is a big fan of Margaret Thatcher, apparently. Brilliant. Caroline says, I'm a billionaire in Zimbabwean dollars. I love it. Human Being says, cat emoji. David says, it says all about supply and demand and burn rate. Far too many coins available with XRP. Why do... Oh! 1970 Buckley gifted 5 bronze memberships. Look at this. I love it. Thank you so much. Everyone, please thank 1970 Buckley for memberships. To claim them, make sure you hit the like button. You are subscribed. This is incredible. Let's focus on this. Thank you very much. Yeah, please do claim and thank Buckley for your super chat, for your membership. From Vietnam with love, I still alive in crypto. Thank you very much. And Quant has 14 million tokens. Thank you. And that's why the price is so much higher. When is Martyn back? Martyn is back November 24th. That's when he'll be streaming again. I think somewhere around then, 20th. I'll let you know close to time, but yeah, in about in under a month from now. I'm listening but taking a break. Yes, Martyn, thank you for tuning in. Jake has a video that has a personal bet with someone XRP will hit 3 digits by end of year. Sensei is always the best to listen to, in my opinion. See, David has just told us that Jake has a video that he has a personal bet with someone, and I bet the bet is okay. I don't care anyway. Sometimes these things annoy me, but I don't want to get into it. David says Jake has a video that he has a personal bet with somebody that XRP will hit 3 digits by end of year. How is that looking? How are we going to hit 3 digits by the end of year? No, we're not. No chance. And I'm not saying that because I don't want that to happen. I would love XRP to hit 3 digits by the end of the year. I would love to come out here and make videos about XRP hitting 3 digits by the end of the year. But that would just be fooling you guys. And what we care about here is the audience. We're not like YouTubers. Sensei is always the best to listen to, in my opinion. Thank you, David. Martin says, I'll be back in touch with my sources when I return. Yeah, thank you, Martin. That'd be amazing to keep us updated with that. Good morning. Yeah, we build real connections. We don't just make things up. I'm not suggesting anyone does, but from what you guys are saying, it sounds like there's some weird things going on. Yolanda says, good morning, Martin. Benny Wood says 750 by year end. He's 99% sure Jake Clavery. Not going to happen. I'm willing to take that bet with them. Potato Family says, thanks, Martin. Brian says, wish you would do a phone-in, Sensei. Yeah, we could do a phone-in. Do you want to phone in, Brian? Why do you hold XRP? The Dogbert says, whatever happened to Shiba Inu? It's just a meme coin, isn't it? It's nothing. It's not held up by anything, really. If the market sentiment's good, it'll do well. If it's not, it'll go down. It's not much utility there. Thank you again, Buckley. I chose Sensei. Oh, here's Martin. I missed it. Where was it? I chose Sensei and Vaz to be on my network as they don't behave like YouTubers. Thank you very much, Martin. That's why I was so drawn to this channel and why I wouldn't stop messaging Martin, because I really wanted to be a part of a real channel rather than all the YouTube channels that are out there. Martin says, we don't take sponsorship. I turn it down every day. Yeah, it's incredible. No one else would do what Martin does. Martin says, the aim is to be the most honest and trusted channel in the world. And we try and do that every day. Good morning, everyone. Zach doesn't give unrealistic price targets. Someone just said, Zach, was that Jake? Zach? I don't know who it is now. 3 digits by the end of the year. Why nearly all live viewers are members? Yeah. We've got a great family here. Good morning from DFW. I've been very busy with a sick family member, so I haven't been on as much. I'm so sorry to hear that, 1979 Buckley. We will. I'll keep you in my prayers, and if everyone can, Buckley, 1978 Buckley is a great supporter of the channel. You just saw them give away 5 memberships. If everyone can keep A Buckley's family member in their prayers, that would be amazing. We're a family here. We always try and support each other. Thank you for a gift. Nice one. Dude, go Banana Head. Yeah, Zach is good. Thank you, David Hensley. Ricardo says, go Banana Heads. I mean, Lucas Aids. Hi, everyone. Why do so many people say market cap doesn't 100% tell the story where XRP is prime? It's a case that can be made. Of course it is. Yes, because it's not about who's investing in XRP, is how much is being used and how much is on XRP and how much is being sent every second. So market cap isn't the most important thing, but it's certainly a great gauge of understanding. These will be the members coming in from the gifts. So yeah, market cap won't tell you the whole story, but it'll tell you enough of the story. If it's a great gauge to understand where you are, because again, it won't tell you 100% of the story, because if XRP does become one of the main ways money is transferred around, well, money transferred around isn't really money being invested in XRP, it's money being moved on the XRP. Put in XRP to move it cross border and then sold, and then because there's so much money flowing using XRP, market cap might not matter as much, but it's still something to keep an eye on and gauge, because we're not at that point yet where everyone is using XRP, and we don't know if we will reach that point. By this time next year, a lot of YouTubers will look silly with their predictions. It sounds like by the end of the year, a lot of YouTubers will look silly by the end of the predictions. Kevin Thompson, XRP will be lucky to hit $10, let alone hundreds of thousands. Yep, you're completely right. Your average gaming says, is there going to be another crash? Is there going to be another crash? Got out after you guys said there will be a crash. I've never. We don't tell people what to do. Please don't buy or sell based on anything we say. I've given you my reasons why I think we are overheated, but I've also said I think that the markets will rally more as well. So where were we? Oh, Martin is spamming. Get well for 1970s family member. Love for more. Yeah, it'll be great if everyone can give some love to 1970s family member. If everyone can just say prayers for 1970s, if everyone can just say in the chat, it'll be amazing. We're a family here at the end of the day, and what matters most is um, our family members. So if everyone can says prayers for Buckley's family member or prayers or love in the chat, that would be amazing. Yeah, we'll be lucky if XRP hits $10 by the end of the year. Yes, I love XRP so much, especially the logo. So cool. Yeah, well, you might as well grab yourself a mug from the shop. We pay for this logo. MartinLucasShop.com. Your channel is already the most trusted channel, Martin. I'm sure it definitely is. Sponsorships affects impartiality. Yes, it does. And look at any other channel. They're sponsored. Well, we sponsored. What do you see on the screen? $4.99 super chat. Is that a sponsorship? Is my ex, Martin's ex, is the shop sponsorship? No, we don't take sponsorships. XRP will be half a shilling by end of the year. If not, half a shilling. Oh god. If in the Netherlands we have some banks that are testing XRP and HBAR, I think that's bullish not for the long run. Yes, there's so much bullish information for XRP in the long run, but it's not all tomorrow. It's not all going to guarantee $1,000 XRP. It's all bullish. There's banks in Japan testing it. We've got news sources from Martin and Bank of America about what they're using it, how they're using XRP. So plenty of good news. There's no need to. Before you go play Phoenix as Potato Family, let's get Zach and Jake to call in and explain how it's going to happen. I'd love to hear that. Joshua says, "So we are going to. So are we still predicting a crash?" I've remember there's 3 separate people that stream on the channel, and 3 of us have our own opinion. Martin is 60%, 40% investing in the S&P 500, 60% basically in cash, earning interest in case there is a crash. He reduced the expectation of a crash a little bit after Friday CPI. Vaz is very much only looking at one specific sector, the EVTOLs. I'm looking at the market in general, and I've got my own opinion of potentially a euphoric run before a crash. But we are all agree that we are in pretty much a euphoric part of the market cycle, and after euphoria does come a bear market. So when does that bear market come? Well, it could come this month. It can come in 2026. We're just approaching the time where you need to start looking at the market a bit more and say a crash is getting more likely than if we were in a bear market. Not here to predict whether a crash will come or not. Get well for 1970s family member. Love for more. Amazing. Thank you. Yes, get well. When does the FOMC start? It will be on Wednesday. FOMC is on Wednesday. We did the build up today. We do trust most coins to trade the same direction as Bitcoin. Yes, definitely. Look at Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's dumping, your altcoin's not going to be pumping. Why does Clackler token bot do, and why did it skyrocket up? I have no idea. Never heard of it. Probably a very high risk. Prayers, get well, 1970s family. Where do you think Bitcoin is going to consolidate before dropping? 100,000 is key. If it breaks 100,000 with a couple of weeks, then that's the bear market started. It might consolidate around 100,000 before the move up. But yeah, I think at these levels, it doesn't really need to go back down to 100,000. If this week goes well, it'll probably just break all-time highs by the end of the week. Good morning to everyone. Prayers to fellow investors not feeling well. Yes, thank you very much. Sending prayers to 1970s Buckley family member. Thank you so much for doing that. Good afternoon, Sensei, everyone. I'm keeping your family in my prayers. Amazing. Who's ringing the bell this morning? No one will be ringing the bell this morning. I don't think, unless we're live with a press conference. Thank you, Sensei. What do you think the likelihood of CME gaps are going to be today? Depends. Well, there's not really much going on today, so unless yeah, I don't think there's anything to really push it down. Where is the CME gap? 111,000. Look, I mean, I don't focus on these CME gaps. I mean, at some point they get filled. They can get filled in 5 months' time if they want to be. So I wouldn't really focus on them too much. Where was the CME gap anyway? Why can't I find my Bitcoin chart? Oh, 112,000. Can it get filled today? Yeah, I'm sure it can get filled today, but I wouldn't. Look, I mean, over here, look, it pumped up and then it didn't get filled for another month, so it's not really worth looking at, to be honest. How's Leah doing? I'll let Martin answer that if he's in the chat. I have a bronze member in our family. That's so warm. I've been a bronze member in our family. That's so warm. Yes, thank you so much. No Phoenix song at the moment. Thank you for the membership. One decision. It's on Wednesday. What does Ethereum do? Tom Lee is so impressed by it. Sort of runs all the Web3 apps. It's the blockchain that is the most used. 1917A Buckley, thank you all for the love and support. My daughter says thank you. Oh, it's your daughter. Okay, well, lots of love and prayers to your daughter. 1970, we all will keep you guys in our prayers. Can anyone tell me how to find out what I've done on X? They say they have given me a flag. I wouldn't know how to help with that. But anyway, thank you. You can always search online. I think normally people do get flagged if they like or comment too much, and you can just appeal it and you'll be fine. Oh, Martin's calling in. 1 second. Sorry, let me check this. Martin's calling in. We've got Martin calling in, so let me see if I can bring him on the screen. This is very, very exciting. Here we go. Are we live? What happened there? I think Martin needs to call in again. I think something went wrong. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's what went. Okay, here we go. There we go. There we go. Martin, welcome to the morning forecast show. How are you doing?
I am very well. Thanks for having me on. I don't know if the Wi-Fi is working very well, but thanks for letting me on the show. I just wanted to update people with exactly what my thoughts are. I am back in the S&P with 60% allocation. So I'm only in one stock, the S&P 500 with VOO, but just 60%. I'm still holding 40% in SGOV, which is my T-bills, earning 4.2% interest, which is better than uninvested cash in Robinhood's brokerage system. So I'm still very cautious. You might say, well, 60% is a lot. Yes, it's about $200,000. I've got another 100,000 on standby in T-bills. And the reason for this is because of what's happening with Xi Jinping and Trump. Looks like we might have a deal, but you never know how these things are going to go. But also, it does look like crypto is looking bullish to end the year. We could see a rally in Bitcoin and XRP. I am getting that information from my usual sources. Now, the reason why that interests me is because if that rallies, the market probably will too, because the two correlate together somewhat. However, if we don't get a dovish Fed and we don't get a perfection in earnings, there could be some profit taking. So I could be out as quick as I'm in, taking a small profit. I've made about $1,000 on that money since last night. I did get in before the pump overnight. I recognized that the market was going to go up, so I got in. I might just be taking a couple of $1,000 profit and back out again, or I might leave it and then allocate the other 40% on a pullback. So I still think that we are massively overbought, massively overpriced. However, the chance of a good report from the Mag 7 is pretty good. I think we could grow into earnings, even though it'll be expensive. If you are in a position to hold your trades and not have to sell them, or you can use a tax lots to trade efficiently. Might not be a bad idea, but I'm holding plenty of money just under a third of my money. Yeah, just over a third of my money, just for a bigger dip. I still think we can correct 20%. That's where a 20% drop would bring us to 22 times earnings, which is still expensive. However, as I said earlier in the year, I do think the S&P is currently being repriced because of tech and growth that we've not had for a while. So I do think we could see a higher valuation on the S&P, but that would still mean a 20% pullback. But I'd like to be in the market now, so I've re-entered. But $100,000, if we get a decent pullback, I'll start to deploy that. But I now no longer need to use margin. I've got $300,000 now, so I'm just working with my own cash. But rather than cash sitting there doing nothing, it is earning 4.2 in T-bills. I strongly recommend, I'm not giving financial advice, but strongly recommend anyone does that. If you've got cash, earn 4.2% rather than nothing. It's as guaranteed as you're ever going to get. And with short-term T-bills, they're not really affected by the Fed's movement. So you're not going to see much change on a short 3-month T-bill. But remember, you can trade it every day, and every day it goes up by the value I had was going up by about $45 a day. So it's free money the way I see it. But I have got back in, but I am on the edge. It could easily fall over if we don't get a dovish Fed, if Xi Jinping and Trump don't pull it off. But it looks like they're going to. And earnings doesn't perform as well as we might expect. But my sources are telling me that these earnings are going to do well. So I thought, okay, I'm going to be in, because if they do well, we can see a 10% on the S&P by the end of the year. So a 10% by the end of the year, and then a pullback. Then if we went down to 20%, we're down 10%. I could then use the money that I've got left to buy that 10% dip, and then we're going off again. So I feel comfortable with that. I think that's a good way of looking at it. But anyway, I just wanted to share you my position as I'm back in the market again. But I am holding 40% on the sidelines in T-bills. Sensei, you're doing a terrific job. Thank you very much for taking care of everybody with the clocks changing. I know it's throwing a few people off for a week, but it'll be back to normal in about 7 days' time. That's it from me. Sensei, good luck with the earnings this week. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you for calling in on your holiday as well. Thank you. That was Martin. It's great that we got to hear from Martin while he is renovating his studios. It's lovely to hear from Martin and giving us an update on his position. So as you heard, back in the market, getting ready for hopefully a bullish week, but also a bit cautious about how it can go wrong as well by having a little bit of money sat on the side. Or when I say a little bit, it's a fair amount. But either way, I'm sort of in the same sentiment. I think we are in for a bullish week. I think earnings are going to outperform. I think we're going to get a deal with Xi Jinping, and I've said that we can have that final euphoria, that final 5-10% on the S&P 500, that final altcoin season in the markets before that final crash comes. And I'm still fairly confident with that prediction. Again, I give it a 60-40, 50-50, but that scenario where the market rallies, I want to be in because the risk reward is better. If it crashes, you just buy in. If you miss the run, then you don't have that money you would have had. So essentially, that's the sentiment. I'm glad to hear that me and Martin are in basic agreement with what's happening, what we expect for this week. We're expecting a bullish week with the Fed, with the earnings, with Xi Jinping, but we are very aware that it could also go quite badly, and it could be the start of the sell-off as well. So yeah, again, we're going to have to analyze it day by day, earnings by earnings, FOMC to data, Xi Jinping, and potentially a press conference today. So very happy that Martin managed to call in on his time off. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned with us. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have got your notifications on. It's very important. If you haven't got the newsletter yet, here is the newsletter link. Do go ahead and get your free trial, or again, the monthly plan will be going up in price in the next couple of weeks. So anyone who's already on it won't be increasing, but in the next couple of weeks, you won't be able to get the monthly price at what it is now. So check it out. More features coming to the newsletter as well for the premium members as well. So lots to be excited for. But until next time, thank you everyone for tuning in. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.